So I'm here unboxing and showcasing the Wyze Cam Pan V3. This is an indoor or outdoor security camera that has the ability to pan, zoom, motion track. It can record to local SD card. It can record to cloud. It has the ability to do siren alarms and so much more. So as you see when opening the box, you get your quick start guide, and then you see the Cam Pan 3 itself. This is a square camera with an arm that's attached to the base. And you can see this little part at the bottom of the base here is what allows it to rotate. You can mount this on a bracket. You can mount it on a stand. It also screws into any sort of standard tripod thread mount if you want to do it that way. But you can see how the panning and tilting works over here. It kind of tilts with this arm up and down, and then the panning is done with this base right here. This circular base at the bottom is how it pans side to side. So it also comes with the bracket itself that you can see where you put the Wyze Cam on and then you mount it to your wall, and that's what allows it to rotate and pan and zoom while it's on the wall mounted bracket as well. In addition, you get the box, you get the USB-C charging cable, which is a flat cable, and it has a specialized plug head that fits into the bottom of the Wyze Cam Pan 3 so that it does not interfere with its ability to be mounted. So it's really important that this plug head is shaped that way. It also comes with the little USB-A to AC adapter and the mounting screws for the bracket itself. So when you plug it in, the first thing you'll notice is it will have a red light indicating that it needs to pair. After you pair it with your phone, the light will turn blue. You can see at the bottom here, you have a place for your micro SD card slot, which is where you want to record your video or your snapshots to the local SD card if you're not going to record them to the cloud or store them back on your phone. You also have the setup button, which is how you pair it with your phone and get it connected to your phone and your Wi-Fi in your house. But here's the way it looks. And the key thing to note here is the USB plug at the bottom is designed to go in flush like that. You have to push it in really hard. So after you get it in and paired to your app, you get to control it manually with the app if you want, but you could set it up to some automatic controls. So here I am manually controlling it, making it move around. And I know there's a tiny little bit of latency between you press the movement buttons in the app and actually the camera starting to move. But once you actually go, it'll just go, and you can just hold the button down. You can either tap it or you could hold it down and make it do full complete rotations. It can go 180 degrees to the left to where it's 100% behind it, or 180 degrees to the right to where it looks 100% behind it. But it can't completely 360 spin and just keep spinning in place 360 degrees. You could point it down to where it's looking directly at its own base and it can't see anything but its base, but you can also point it up towards the sky, the ceiling, or the stars as well. So you have a lot of flexibility as range as to what you can see with this cam, and this is basically just how you can control it manually. And you can see it's pretty easy to control. Just mount it where you want to mount it, and then you could kind of like zoom around manually. Now inside the app itself, showing you how it looks, this is how it looks when, again, you're pressing the buttons left and right. There's just a slight little bit of latency between pressing the left, right, up, or down buttons, but it's not that bad at all. And again, you could point it directly straight up at the ceiling. There's a whole bunch of other options here. If you want to record locally to a disk, you can press the SD card. I was really impressed at just how much you can adjust this pan and zoom on the Cam 3. So again, here, let's say you move the camera manually, you want to take a photo of something, you can manually press the take photo button, and then it'll ask to access your photos. Just grant it access to be able to save that snapshot to your camera's photo section. You could also record locally disk with the record button. You have the siren alarm, which is pretty crazy how loud that siren alarm gets. It really gets loud. And by default, it'll just go for 30 seconds. You could do that to kind of scare off an animal, scare off an intruder that you see manually. And the motion track is pretty effective too. You can see I have motion track on, and as I lean to the left and right, it started to track me. It's a tad bit jittery, but it's surprisingly fast at keeping up the motion tracking, considering how slow it is when you press the buttons to manually move it. So I thought that was a pretty cool feature too. Now, I didn't get to test it, but you also get to do time lapse. The coolest thing too is pan scan. So let's say you're setting this up as a security camera at night. When you have pan scan, it automatically defaults to looking to the left at first, and then after periodic intervals, it'll rotate to look straight ahead, and then after a small interval, it'll rotate to look to the right. And so pan and scan will have it just continuously scan left and right and kind of like in these little patterns, which is kind of cool as it kind of pan scans your environment. So that's what the pan scan is. I was just really impressed how easy to use this camera is.